From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
On today's episode, Ticats 2023 draft pick and defensive back Patrick Burke Jr. joins the show to discuss his first CFL season, being a Canadian groomed talent in the CFL and making the jump in year two. It's Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, and this is Ticats Today. Patrick Burke Jr. was a fourth-round pick in 2023 back in the CFL draft, 29th overall, and was able to stick around with the Ticats for the year, playing on the special teams for the most part, but he did get some looks at DB when there was some injuries towards the end of the year, but he really got that first taste of being a professional athlete and seeing what it's like to be a pro football player in the CFL, and he's a guy who got to where he is through that U Sports system, a unique journey, if you will, that some of these Canadian players go through, and he's looking to make an even bigger jump this season, and he joins me now. Patty, good to see you, buddy. How you been?
I'm well. Good to see you too, Brayden.
I believe it was a year ago nearly today, or about maybe a couple weeks from now, that we first talked, and you were being drafted by the Ticats. You've had that first year in the CFL. What was that like for you to get that experience of playing pro ball and getting that first year in?
Oh, man, that experience was amazing. Being drafted by a team that I admire and has a lot of great players and great coaches and great staff, like, I couldn't ask for a better situation. Like, I just felt like every day I was getting better and growing as a player and as a person, and it's the best environment to be in.
Now, for those players that are going to be in the draft in a few weeks from now, what's the best advice you can give them while they're waiting for their name to be heard on draft night?
Be confident in yourself, trust the work you put in, and you'll see results. You'll see results.
That's great advice right there. And I mean, being a Canadian player playing at Laurier, was it always a dream of yours to be in the CFL? A lot of guys don't realize the CFL is an option being from the States until later on. But for you, was it something that you always thought that was something you'd want to do?
Oh, 100%. It's one of the reasons why I chose Laurier, because looking at the guys they produce, especially on the defensive side, they produce a lot of pro players. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be part of that crew. So I went there, learned from amazing coaches, had some amazing vets, and put in the work.
Your story is pretty unique as well, because you were a linebacker and then you became a DB, which it does happen a lot with football players. But what was it like for you when you realized that maybe that the route of being a DB was better for you?
It was a lot. I went to my first training camp at Laurier and was with the linebackers, and then it wasn't too bad, but then Coach Cameron, who's also with the Calgary Stampeders now, he called me over. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You're a DB now." I was like, he's like, "You're a hybrid." I was like, "So I'm like, so what do I do now?"
Yeah.
He said, "You train with the DBs, but then there'd be sometimes you'd be the linebacker." And I just got into football at this point, so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and now I got to learn a whole new position, and I'm up for the challenge. I always like a challenge, but it was a lot, especially going from playing high school ball to playing DB and then switching complete different position, learning all the new techniques and stuff. So it was a fun challenge.
You started like a little bit later than most. You started in, I think it was the 10th grade, right?
Correct. Yes.
So before that, you were a soccer player. What's up with that? When did you start playing football, and what made you decide to make the transition from soccer to football?
So I was playing soccer for growing up, to be honest, and being in Canada, there wasn't too many great opportunities, and I got one great opportunity, but it wasn't like a full thing. It was in England, and like it would have been a lot financially. So I was like, I was like, I might have to like kill this dream or do something that's more like obtainable, because like. I would have to live in England. I don't have family there, and like all that expenses, and it was only like partially covered. So I was like, well, I always told myself I wanted to be a pro player in any sport, which was soccer, basketball, football. Football came later, obviously, but I was just in high school one day, and one of my seniors at that time was like, "Oh, like I remember playing against you in other sports in middle school, junior school, and middle school." So I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, like the football team would love to have you," and just pretty much explaining it to me. And to be honest, I wasn't watching football that much. Like, I'd only watch like the Grey Cup, Super Bowl. So I was like, I would just watch the big games, and I didn't know too much about the rules. Like, I'll see something, I'd be like, "Why did that just happen? Like, why is that 3 points?" Like, it was kind of confusing to me. And I was like, oh, like, sorry, like, I don't play football. I might be the wrong guy. Like, no, like, your athleticism, like, we will find something. Like, I promise you'll like it. And for soccer, I was kind of on the physical side too. So, like, I would be afraid to box.
Not really a physical sport.
So, I had to get with that. And then I was like, trust me, it'll be a great fit for you. So I tried out. And originally I was a receiver. And our quarterback threw a pick and went in and just laid out a guy. Our defensive coordinator seen it and he said, yeah, we might have to make that switch. I was like, and then I became a DB, and then due to the fact that in like high school, since everyone's like kind of on the smaller side, they're like, yeah, we're not going to put you like you for like at the pro level, you'd be a DB, but we're not going to put you there. We're going to put you at linebacker. So I was like, okay, whatever I got to do, I'll get it done. And I was playing linebacker, being in the box, just hitting people constantly, throwing guys around, and I was like, you know what, this sport's fun. Yeah. And then eventually, a club, Topical Eagles, reached out to me, and then I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Let's
maybe I can do this. Yeah.
So I tested it out, and it was fun, but then the sad part, the money comes in, and I was like, you know what, I don't really want to do this to my parents. Like, I don't know, like, we already got our own stuff, and like, I feel like this is a burden. And then they're like, just keep coming to practice. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. And then I kept going, and then they're like, so what's happened with the money? They thought like maybe it would change. The answer changed. But I told them, I was like, oh, it's still the same. Like, I don't know what can happen. They said, okay, we'll figure something out. And then the next day they hit me up, and they told me that someone to this day, I don't know who, which I hope I can find out one day, paid for me, and they're like, just continue doing. They like what you do. Continue doing what you're doing, and just give it your all. And then I started running with it.
That's insane, and look at where it's gotten you. I mean, whoever that person is out there, I mean, they can look at what you're doing now, and look at your career, and see that they made a huge difference, right?
They really did, and I always asked. I said, "Who's this person?" And they said, "Just don't worry." They coded it as just my angel. It could be any name, and I was like, "Okay, well." I tried again when I went pro. I was like, "Okay, can I at least find out who this angel is?" And they're like, "Nope, they want to stay mysterious."
Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like the Batman of football. Like he's just helping out. We don't know who it is, but I mean, big ups to whoever that was for helping you out for sure. And fast forward now to you. You played that first season. At what point did you realize, or did it kind of kick in that you're like, I'm playing pro football right now. I'm in the league.
To be honest, it always felt unreal.
Yeah,
because for me, it's just playing ball. Like. It's fun. Like, I get to do what I love. So it's like, when most people are like, oh, like, when I say, like, some points I forget that it's like, it's my job, because like, it's just so fun. It's what I love to do. And like, most people complain about their job, and like, I never had that case.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess it hit me one day when I was in Hamilton, a fan came up to me like, oh, you're a rookie. You're that rookie number 29. And I was like, whoa.
Here we go. That's cool.
I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, yeah, like. So I was thinking, like, oh, maybe just no, because maybe I'm like, at the time I was the youngest on the team and all that. And I'm like, yeah, like, you went to Laurier, you're number 12. I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. Their research.
That's cool.
And at that moment, I'm like, whoa, I'm a pro football player. And then it kind of sank in with me, and I was like, okay, like, it feels cool.
What was the transition like for you? Like, what was it about U Sports that was a lot different once you got to the pro level? Like, what were those major differences you noticed in the style of game and the way it's played?
The IQ of everybody is a big difference. Because before, in uni is like always like the best players are going to take over, but now it's like everyone was their best player at one point, or is even the best player now. So it's like you can't just solely rely on athleticism and size. So it's like you got to have that edge. So IQ was the biggest thing for me, and like knowing that you can change a play just based off of a formation that the offense gives you, or based off of one guy in his location, So that was one thing for me. Like, I was looking, I was like, whoa, like I knew football, but like this is just a whole different other level. So I would say that was the biggest thing that was that jumped out to me. Most people say like the physicality of the game and stuff like that, but like for me, like I love being physical. So that was fun to do. And yeah, I feel like that's the only thing for me that was a big stand.
At what point did you realize you're going to be sticking around with the team? Like, once training camp ended, at what point did you realize you were going to be with this team for the year? Because sometimes guys will go back to school or do whatever, but at what point did you realize you're going to be sticking with the Ticats for the whole season? Or is that like a constant every day, every week by week process?
For me, I take it day by day, always giving it like 110%, you know? So I don't take any day for granted. Any day that I'm healthy and I'm on the field to play well, to show my best ability, I'm always going to do it 1,000%. And it kind of hit, like, for me, my mindset was always, whatever team I get drafted to, I'm going to stick. Like, I'm going to give it my all. Like, they can't say, oh, he doesn't try hard enough, or he doesn't have the athleticism, or he doesn't have the skills. Like for me, it's like even if I'm good at something, I want to be better. And, like, obviously, if I'm not good at something, I'm going to be constantly working on it until there's constant improvement to where, like, wait, what's this guy's weaknesses? Or, like, okay, well, this is his weakness, but he's still good at it, you know? So that's something I always want to do. And not being complacent was the next thing. Like, for me, like, I know that's like, okay, well, coming from a Canadian school, and like I was the youngest on the team, so a lot of guys are like, oh, don't worry, you're young, this, that, there. I'm like, yes, I know I'm young, but like I still want to be great, you know? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, they're like, you have lots of time. I'm like, I know, but you know, the more time, the better, you know? So I always try to grow with everyone. And once I realized, like, it clicked in for me, it's like, you know, like, giving that effort every day, no matter what, I feel like that's the moment I realized, like, you know, I'm going to stay here for a while. And the goal is to do what Simone did, play here my whole career, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know what's funny, Patty, is whenever I first saw you, I knew you, I interviewed you when you got drafted, and then I saw you come out in the black and gold, and I was like, man, this guy's got swagger. Like, you would not know this guy's a rookie, but is that how you've always been? You just, doesn't matter where you're at, you're going to be that hard nosed, you get swagger like player, you know what I mean?
My thing was always look good, feel good, play good. So when it was training camp, and I was like, you know what, like, I always have my little swagger. I'm like, I'm not gonna just stop that because I'm a rookie, or
for sure,
or I'm still trying to make the team. Like, you know, I'm gonna keep doing what brought me here. You know, like, I'm not gonna shy away from that. So I came out, you know, had the muscles popping, you know, had the leg sleeve, and
the gear wear looked great, you know.
And some guys didn't even know, they're like, you're a rookie. I was like, yeah. I was like, you couldn't tell. I was like, yes.
Look good, play good, right?
Always.
What was it like getting to work with Mark Washington, a guy who's been around the game for so long, and whenever you were with him on that defense?
Mark Washington, he's a great person, a great coach, and just like being around him, just learning everything. Like, he probably says it a lot. Like, I ask him questions about everything. Like, I'm like, okay, we install something. I'm like, okay, I need to know the why, or like, why do we do this, or like, what's the best way to do this? Like, what do you think is the most beneficial way for us to execute this play?
For sure.
And, I'd always just be bugging him and just saying, like, oh, like, I did this. Was this good? Like, how can I make it better?
Yeah.
He liked it, but I feel like sometimes he was also annoyed by it because, you know.
Yeah.
But he loved that I learned, and he's just a great person. He's just I look at him like a mentor, you know, not just as a coach. It's like, okay, well, he was a player, and then now he's a coach, and then he's just so. His IQ is amazing, and him as a person is just even like better. It's hard to top that. Like, he's just such a great coach to have, and like, I'm glad that this was a team I went to, and he was willing to, like, okay, you know what, like, we get that he's a rookie, but like, we're not going to treat him just like a rookie. Like, we're going to make sure that like he's up to pace with all of our guys, and like, I felt like I never got belittled in any way. So that whole experience with him and just learning under him was amazing. He's a great coach and player and person.
Yeah, always great when I get to talk to him, and everyone kind of says the same thing as you. And who are those veterans that kind of took you under your wing? Who are those guys that were helping you through the whole process of learning the CFL?
There was a lot. So Tunde and Stav.
Yeah.
First day they pulled up to camp, like, I went out to them. I was like, I don't know if you guys know me, but like,
yeah,
I'm in your guys. I'm a part of your position group now, but I'm gonna be asking you guys everything and anything. Like, even if I'm not even on the play, like, if you did something, I'm gonna ask you the why and all of that. So if you get annoyed, sorry, but that's just what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And they said, no worries, like, ask us anything. Like, we'll never not have time for you and all of that. So instantly there, and that conversation I had with them was like, yeah, these are great leaders to look up to. And then I also play Sam linebacker, so
Yep.
Chris Edwards was a great player to look up. Great player to look up to. I'll ask because he's been doing it for so long.
For sure.
I'd ask him, "Oh, why'd you do that?" Or like say we're going to blitz and he has a perfect move. I'm like, when do you know to use that move, or like what's the best move to use against someone who's this sort of caliber, high puncher, low puncher, or patient? And he would just
Yep.
always give me tips and then help me out and just teach me how to be a pro. So those were three key guys, and
some good guys to learn from right there, for
yeah.
sure.
And a next one as well was Malik Carney. He was my locker
Yeah.
buddy. Every day, like I would just always talk to him, and then just see how, like, he would just tell me the ins and outs and like how to do things, and just like, like help me be a pro. And it was crazy because like he was a D lineman, I'm a DB, and like I'd always ask him, he just never turned me away, and like he was always there to help me, and just like either just there to listen to me or just help me, or me and him just making jokes together. So that was pretty good. And the next guy too, we had a couple conversations. We talked, obviously, we're teammates and ever, but like his work ethic was the next guy, Jameer Thurman.
Oh yeah,
Those
for
guys
sure.
you gotta watch from far. You're like, okay,
Yeah,
he's one of the top guys on defense, but like every after practice, he's always doing more. He's always like, in my head, I call him kind of like a robot. He's just always he's always to the script, and like he never, like, he could have the best practice, he's still gonna do what he needs to do, because he'd be like, oh well, this is my weakness, so I'm not gonna stare away from it. And I'm like,
for sure.
yeah, that's something I got to take out of your book, because that was amazing.
No, it's great. And I mean, having those role models to learn from, and those are all guys who have been so good in the CFL. It's exciting. And you spent some time on the special teams last year. You're going to have a new special teams coordinator this year in Paul Boudreau, a guy coming over from Winnipeg, a guy who's won Grey Cups before and who's been successful. But what does it mean to have him joining this team and another person like him with his experience to learn from?
Oh, I've been so eager to go to camp, and for me, it's like to show them what I've been training for, and then to also meet all of our new coaches that we got. And
yeah,
I'm looking at their resumes. I'm like, they're great coaches, and they produced like efficient numbers, stuff like that. But then like I'll reach out to people who've been coached by them, and they say like, oh, this is their style, or they're a great coach and they do this, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be in that room with such great coaches. So I'm just looking super eager to it and ready to learn from him, because he's done it for a long time and successfully, and that's my thing, always being the best at what I do.
This is going to be your second training camp. Does it feel like your nerves have eased a lot more than they would have that first time you were going into training camp? Do you feel more, you're like a little bit closer of a veteran now? You're not that rookie anymore?
Yeah, the nerves, I feel like I'm not there right now, so it's hard to tell, but I feel like it's pretty calmer, because as the season went on, like I was kind of like, like not being
adjusting.
I was adjusting. I wasn't being so shy, and like I'd like show players like, okay, like this is my game. Like I was a vocal person, so like at Laurier, so I was like, I'm gonna bring that here too, and just show them like the type of player I am, and not just be like that quiet rookie that doesn't say anything.
For sure.
So I'm looking forward to that, and then now not having that rookie status, so it's gonna be super fun. But I'm still gonna treat it as if I was a rookie. Every day is gonna be 1,000% effort, and never take anything for granted. So I'm gonna keep doing the same thing I was doing, but better, I guess.
I mean, you're now a sophomore, so you're not going to be the rook. You might not be getting the coffees for the boys anymore, so that's always nice. Well, one last question before we go, but what does the training look like for you this offseason? What are you working towards to improve on for next year?
So a lot of things I've obviously, you never not get better at things. So I'm constantly still getting stronger. I worked on my speed a lot, which was a big thing, because I was like, I want to be that fast big guy. That's a rare thing. And then the next thing I was working on is like, okay, just like DB skills, like just more field work, and then just doing stuff that like, okay, this is my weakness, I want to do it more so that I don't really have a weakness. So off season's been crazy. Sometimes I'm lucky I'll get 2 days off, but majority of times it's 6 days a week.
Getting in the work.
Getting the work always. And then a next big thing was treatment as well. Like treatment, you got to take care of your body, because Your
For
body's a
sure.
moneymaker, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Mel, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you back at Tim Hortons Field. And I mean, look at it's almost been a year now, man. It's crazy to see how far you've come. So great to see you, and we'll be back here shortly for training camp, man.
Great to see you too, brother.